Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm in my early 30s, and I actually graduated from college with an education degree. Did not care for it about 5 or 6 years in, so it was a lot of student debt, and actually this helped me get almost out of student debt. So I'm very grateful for flipping. I love it. I suggested anybody they could do it. But after that, I moved all around. I was in Arizona, New York, Florida, doing taking teaching positions. And I finally made it back to Pittsburgh, where my fiance and myself are from. Now I'm working at a healthcare institution, not selling insurance, but like with an insurance company. But on the side, I'm actually flipping gym equipment now, and I'm probably making double than what I'm making at my full-time job, which is awesome. But the full-time job has the benefits and vacation days and everything. So I'm lucky enough to actually do both. I don't have too much like management hovering over me. So I'm able to be on my phone a little bit, flipping here and then doing some work and going back to flipping. I wouldn't suggest that for everybody, but it works for me. I really started out flipping, I think, like it's brand new to me too. Like, I've only been doing this for about 9 months now. I probably made anywhere between 15 and 20 grand in those 9 months. So it is pretty good, the equipment. And there's not really a market out there for it, which is why I think I'm doing so well. Um, I started off actually about 5 years ago. Somebody left a couch. This is really random, but somebody left a couch on the curb. And I'm like, that's a nice couch. I bet somebody would pay for that. So what I did was I just took a picture of it. It was still on the curb, and somebody bought it the next day. Um, and then from then on, I started flipping couches for about a year. And that was actually giving me pretty good money. I wasn't doing it full time. I was maybe doing one or two a month. Like it was just really, really random flipping couches. Like I have a truck. I'd tow it to their house. I'd help them carry it in and make like 100, $200 off it, whatever. But not a lot of people are selling couches. So the inventory was kind of hard to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I kind of gave up for a while. I was like, okay, whatever. That was dumb. So I then, when I moved back to Pittsburgh, I actually lived with my in-laws for about 6 months. You know, I don't want to say that, but I did to save up a little bit of money because coming back from New York, it kind of took a toll on my bank account. So my father-in-law actually suggested that I sell his elliptical, or asked that I could sell the elliptical. It wasn't even that good of a piece of equipment anyway. But I was like, okay. So I posted on Facebook Marketplace, and I posted for about $250, which I didn't think anyway nobody would pay that for that piece of equipment. But I had 40 hits in like a week, and I was like, this is insane. That's craziness. Then I was thinking, well, if I just bought something else, another type of elliptical, then I could sell that as well and maybe make a profit off it. So I did that. And what I would do, I primarily just use Facebook Marketplace. I know, Keely, you talk a lot about using eBay. I'm never on eBay. I don't use Amazon. I don't ship these things. I think why people like to buy from me locally because I offer delivery.
Yeah.
So what I usually do now, I started off slow. I bought one right on Marketplace, I think for like $150, and then I flipped it for about $350 3 or 4 days later, because all of those people who wanted that one elliptical, I knew they were potential clientele. So I just took a snapshot of the piece of equipment I bought, sent it to all of them, sent them the price, and then it just got snatched up just like that. And it just started growing over 8 or 9 months now, where I actually have a system down. I actually probably have about I would say 100 people on my Facebook Marketplace like message board, and now they know that. And I'm going to get into the process how I go about it now. But now they know, I know that they're there and they're willing to buy and they're willing to pay money. So I go out and I find the equipment and then I post it to them. So that's exactly what I do now. Stop me if I'm talking too much. I can talk about.
No, you're doing fine. I do have a question, a couple of them. So you obviously have, because the problem with gym equipment and couches and furniture is you need like help moving it, right? So who's going along with you? Are you manhandling this into the truck, or do you have someone that helps you move things?
So the couches, I needed somebody else. Sometimes I would have the people help me load it and then unload it. Right now, I actually got pretty good at loading it myself, But a lot of the time people, they do want to, you know, in order to get out of their basement or whatever, they want to sell really cheap too, because they just want it out of their house. And they're like, I just need to get this out. No one wants to take it up the stairs. I'm willing to do that. So, but they usually help me out. Like yesterday I think I bought 2 treadmills, and I bought one and sold one in the same day. So the guy actually helped me take it apart, carry it upstairs. We both loaded it on the truck. When I got to the guy's place, I drove like 45 minutes down the road, sold it for $200 profit. But when I got there, the guy helped me unload it. We took it apart, we put it in the house, and I walked out with $200 cash profit. So
Nice.
yeah, it's usually just me, because I'm not gonna lie, I love money and I hate to like give it up to anybody.
Yeah, give someone $20 just to help you deliver something.
Well, you imagine it's more than that, because I do have to pay my friends sometimes. I give them, like, to make it worth their while, I give them $100, $200 if I have a good day of selling. I think my best day I made about $1,000 or $1,200 one day, so I just gave them $200, and I was kind of upset I had to do that, but it was a huge help. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I do now. Loading it, I actually have a storage facility, and I keep about 10 or 12 pieces of equipment there. But what I usually do, I really want to go into my system, because I think you'll find this interesting. Your listeners will find this interesting. So I'm all over Facebook Marketplace in the Pittsburgh area, and I have now about 5, 6, or 7 posts. I work with treadmills, I work with ellipticals, and that's pretty much all I have posted. So people are saying, hey, is this treadmill for sale? And a lot of them that I already have posted, they're not for sale anymore. Like, they sold like months ago, but I just don't put sold on them, because that's what brings in the clientele. And I don't want to give up. I don't want to take it down, because I don't want to keep posting pictures over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just send the pictures to that message board that I have lined up whenever they say they're interested.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say that they're interested, I always give pretty much the same response. I pretty much tell them, hey, and I use their name, because I think, like, more personal touch. They know you're not a robot or anything. Hey, so-and-so, this piece of equipment sold, but I buy and sell used gym equipment all the time. Would you be interested in other models I have in? They usually come back with, oh yeah, definitely. Then we start off a little conversation. I understand what they're looking for. If I don't have it, I go out and find it. And then what I do when I have those messages all lined up, say like 5 days later, I have about 30 messages all lined up, I would buy 3 pieces of equipment. And then what I do now is I take a screenshot of it, and then I have the title of the equipment, the price, and the price delivered. And then I just send that to the mass majority, and I seriously get hits like this, like that, like, because I have about 40, 50 people that are interested, and people just snatch them right up. And I get to make whatever prices I want to, because there's not really a market on it. So my profit margin lines, I usually try to buy for around $150 to $200 and sell for $350 to $400. So I make at least $160 or $200 profit on it. So
nice. And so are you going to garage sales, or are you just finding it on the marketplace and you just go pick it up? And
that's what's funny, is because they're all listed on Marketplace, but I'm willing to go out there and get them. And then I just post the same one pretty much to these potential clientele buyers or whatever, and they just snatch it right up. I don't know if they're just not looking far enough, or their search isn't far enough, but I usually go up to like a 100-mile radius. So I'm willing to go to I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm willing to go like Ohio, West Virginia, wherever to go pick it up. And honestly, I'm still learning how to do this, how to make the most money out of it. My next motive is to like get a big box truck, maybe on one Saturday a month, and just go out to Ohio, because that's where a ton of pieces are. I don't know why, but they're all in Ohio. But go out there and just load up. And then as soon as I load up, I could probably buy like 10 to 12 out there, stuff them in a box truck, bring them back to my storage facility, clean them up a little bit. I mean, they're usually in pretty good working order. Take pictures of them, and then just post them. I could probably make like $2,000, $3,000 in a day if I did that, but that's still like down the line. So, and honestly, let me just say one more thing too. Like, I just post on Facebook Marketplace, but I go on Letgo and Craigslist, because those are other platforms that a lot of people don't utilize on Marketplace. So you could usually find like little scores here and there, and then you go find them and pick them up real quick too. So it's all about getting the inventory and just putting it out there. So whoever wants it.
Nice. So what's your best flip that you've had so far? Like the one that was just like a home run?
The best one, That's another thing. Like I started off with ellipticals, then I moved to treadmills. Then somebody asked me if I had a Bowflex Max trainer. Never heard of it. And now I'm an expert in them because they sell all the time.
Yeah.
So my best one, I probably bought it for about, I think 300 and I sold it for about 800. So I made $500 on one flip. And honestly, it was like right down the street too. So I picked it up and I think I dropped it off the same day and made $500. So
Nice. And I really like that you discovered that angle of kind of building a list. I mean, you're not getting people's emails, you don't have a page, but you have people that are looking for things and you can reach out to them. And I feel like that's so important. And a lot of resellers miss that part of it, because if you have a group of people that know you and know what you're doing, and they're like, hey, can you be on that lookout for this? And you already have a buyer when you find something.
yeah. 100%.
Are you going to expand that out a little bit more? Are you going to start maybe your own Facebook page? That way all these people can follow you?
See, that's what I want to talk to you up on the side, because like I said, I'm still trying to expand this. Like, I think I have a pretty good grasp on it, and I love what you do. I love listening to your podcast. Like, you have so many good ideas, and you have so many good like listeners who like give you suggestions. So I definitely want to pick your brain a little bit, after this.
We can talk about that now too. I think there's a lot of people out there that this is not talked about enough in resale, because it's like, oh, it's just junk. We just list it and we don't really treat it like a business. And when you start taking it from like a little bit of a hobby into a business and you treat it like a business, that's where you can grow exponentially. Because would you say it's true, if you didn't have that list of people you could reach out to, that it would be a little bit more difficult, take more time to get some of those pieces sold?
Oh, 100%. When I first started, what I would do, I just posted one machine and then I'd get maybe 1 or 2 hits a week maybe. But then I realized the more I put it out there, like the more interest that came in. It's all about getting your product out there and like letting people see that you have these things. I had probably about 50 pieces of equipment at one time, and I only posted like 2. And I'm like, why is this not selling? But then I posted about 10 pictures of them, and then they all started coming in. And then what I do too, I have a lot of people that come back to me. If you satisfy what they want, if you don't like try to like cheat them on anything, if you're upfront with them, I had so many people come back to me and say, hey, I'm also looking for this. Let me know if you have bring this in. And that's how you build like trust in your, people in your market, because the more trust that you have from them, the more they're going to be willing to work with you in the future. And I've even had people suggest me to other people now for selling them equipment. So I have no idea why, but I'm glad that it's happening. So
yeah. Okay. Well, you ready for some recommendations on starting like to turn it from what you've got going on into a business? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's 2 types of pages on Facebook, and I'm going to gear this towards resellers, and everyone listening can kind of take it and gear it towards what they have going on. So you have your Facebook pages, right? These are essentially like fan pages, like Coca-Cola, even Resale Revolution has a fan page, but then you can also have a group. So what I recommend now is you start a page, and it's like your business page, and you can call it Chris's, fantastic gym equipment, or whatever you want to call it.
I'm never going to call it that, but all right.
Whatever you want to call it, seriously.
Yeah.
That's just a quirky name come off the top of my head. But you then will take the people that have messaged you and are interested, and you share your link to your Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And once they start following your page, they can start messaging you on there. And you can hook that page to your Instagram. So you would start an Instagram page. It's all about like, the gym equipment that you get in, what you've got in storage, kind of your story. So those people get to know and like you through your Instagram page, and you will cross post the things to your Facebook page, like in one post. Super easy. And then from your Facebook page, you can post to the outside groups that you're already posting in. So you're hitting like 3 places at once, and you're getting people to follow you.
So you're saying fan page and group page. There's 2 different ones?
There's 2 different ones. So you can have a group, but when you could have a group that's maybe used, gym equipment in Pittsburgh. area. And what will happen, and what might be a huge benefit to you, is you'll get people who are looking to sell on there, and you can snatch it up because you'll get notifications straight to your phone that like, hey, someone posted this, and you can even buy from them. But you're also creating a group of people that are interested in gym equipment in your area.
Definitely.
And you control the page. And the nice thing about pages is that people will interact. And so for people, this is great for people to do handmade, because you can show what you're hand making. Other people can share what they're hand making, and it creates community. A fan page is kind of one-sided, where you're just sharing things that you have. But you can't, if you're going to use Instagram and Facebook, you can only use your fan page, your Facebook page. I call them fan pages, but it's the page. So you kind of need, you can utilize all of them, but if you're going to pick just one, I would start with a page, because you can build a brand. And yes, as resellers, it sounds funny to build a brand, but we all buy things that we like and we know, and it expands from there. And so you can create a following of people that like your page and like you, and they'll get notifications when you get things. And it just gives you a more professional look. So you can start even raising the prices of what you're selling, because now you look like a business.
Yeah. And so a fan page, if I'm hearing this correctly, that's just like your regular Facebook page, but it's geared just towards like your resales, your flips, right?
Yes, but it's not a profile. So you don't have to start a new account. You can YouTube this. I'm not very good at being like, go to this tab, but I think at the top bar, it says like create a page, and you can just create a page that's connected to your main profile. And that's all you have to do. And then you can put pictures of the gym equipment. You can, talk about your delivery. You can post everything in there, and people can scroll through. But what's nice is that that's your group of people that you know and like, and you can reach out to them whenever, or that know and like you, and aren't interested in what you have, and you can reach out to them whenever you want. Instead of, right now you're having to, go to those posts and like grab all of them. You could just be creating one post in your Facebook page, and they would all see it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't suggest like a website or the Instagram?
No.
Okay.
There's absolutely no reason in 2019 to have a website. For my brick and mortar store, I have a website. I paid $100 on Fiverr for it to be designed, and I don't even really care about it. It's just there to look like I have an actual, I have a brick and mortar business. You got to have a little bit of a website, but I sell so much of my product out of my store through Facebook posts and Instagram posts. The goal, like if you have the time, it would be to post. This is a Gary V. I don't know if you follow Gary Vaynerchuk, but he says that you need posting 9 times a day on the social media with your products or whatever you have to say. I don't have time for that. I don't know who has time for that except for people that can hire people to do that. I mean, seriously. But I'll try to post twice a day, and it's insane. Like I'll post a piece of furniture that's been in my store for like a year, and all of a sudden I'll just keep posting it. And one day someone will call and be like, oh my God, when did you get that in? I want that. It's just because they weren't watching, but I had it. But if I hadn't posted it, they would have never seen it. I wouldn't have sold it because they wouldn't have come in.
Yeah.
And so it's just a great way to grab their attention and sell more product, because you're literally delivering what you have to their Facebook feed.
Yeah.
Which is where they're looking all the time. So as resellers, it's so important to realize that when you start treating it like a business and you create that page and you're involved in people's timeline every day, that they're seeing you all the time. And they're like, oh, now I know where to go for a elliptical or a treadmill because this guy always has them. So it's like you're their hookup when they're ready to buy, because you're like right in their timeline.
Definitely. No, that makes a lot of sense. And let me just say too, like your furniture flips are like right on my alley too. I love that type of stuff. And it's so smart you doing that. Like you just get a piece of furniture off the street pretty much for like $10, then flip it for like $100, $200. It's genius. Like all you can do is paint it and then people will buy it. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you don't even I don't even like painting that much. Like my mom is actually a professional painting contractor. And as a kid, a teenager and a kid, she used to take me to these job sites and be like, here's a paintbrush, like help me out, cut in these lines. I would be in so much agony having to paint that I'd roll around on the ground like, I don't want to work. So it's hilarious that now, because I like the transformation and the money that can be made in it, and the people are just ecstatic when they get these one-of-a-kind pieces and it's like theirs,
Yeah.
And to me, I'm saving. You have to think about the life stages of a piece of furniture, right? So you have a piece that's old, grandma had it, the grandma dies and the kids inherit it, and no one wants this ugly brown piece, so they sell it off really cheap. And if it doesn't end up with a reseller like myself, it goes to someone who paid $20 for it. They trash it in their apartment, and then they're about to throw it on a burn pile or give it away for free, or it's going to be firewood, whatever. I've seen people burn like wood furniture for firewood. Like, it's insane. So we save them from they're about to die, really, and turn them into something beautiful that's now even more valuable than a piece of IKEA furniture.
Yeah. And it has to have good bones to it, right? If it doesn't have good bones, Yep,
the bones are the most important. So for me, the drawers have to work well. Yeah. Those are the most important thing. If the drawers don't slide well, I don't care how beautiful it is, I'm not going to buy it. And your customers aren't going to like it either. They want functionality out of a dresser.
Well, it's like when we were talking back and forth on Instagram, I told you that like a lot of your ideals and a lot of your like ideas for flipping relate to what I've been doing. And like when I hear your podcast, I understand clearly what you're saying, and I think that's that mindset you have. Relating it to like the gym equipment now, you said having good bones for like the furniture. Like I'm not saying I'm out there buying any treadmill, any elliptical, anything. I have like a good idea of what's going to sell and what's not going to sell and what's worth what. So anybody that is doing this, any niche you get into, I would suggest definitely learn up on that one thing. Learn like what's good, what's out there, what's going to sell. Another good trick, I actually told my sister-in-law, she was interested in doing this, and a lot of people don't want to flip gym equipment because it's heavy. I said, well, get out there and maybe start with flipping cameras, because like professional cameras. People always like cameras are huge. People always want to take pictures, want to work with Instagram. So I even told her, like, you don't even have to buy this thing yet. See what they're going for online on Facebook, Craigslist, Letgo are all platforms I use. And I don't know if you're able to do this or not, but I do it. Sometimes if I don't have the machine yet, and I would suggest this for anything, get a picture on Google of the exact thing that you're going to buy or that you want, post it for certain numbers. Say there's a Canon camera out there, someone's selling it for $100. Don't buy it yet. Go out there, get the Google picture, give the description of it, post it for $300 and see if somebody bites. Somebody bites, go up and buy that one for $100. Hurry up and then go sell it to the person who wants to pay $300. So there's little tricks like that I would suggest too. So because a lot of this is going to take up a good bit of money. I do that sometimes for the treadmills, either because I don't have them yet or because I don't know, I'm not able to go pick them up or until a later date. So I say, hey, I have this one coming in. I give the Google picture, and then they're like, oh, I'll definitely take that one, even though I don't even have it yet. Yeah. So there's little tricks of the trade there to like help you out if you want to get started without even having the money to do it. Because sometimes when you buy something, it just sits around for a while. So I would suggest maybe post a picture of something first that you know is out there and see if you get any bites.
Nice. That's awesome advice. And that could be a little bit of a stressful thing where it's like, oh, I got to buy her now. I got to run and pick this thing up before someone snatches it. But a lot of times, especially with these bigger things, you can PayPal or Venmo money and be like, hey, I want to send you money, but I can't pick it up until this date. And so you could do what you just said. And then once you have a buyer and you're like really ready to get it, but you can't get it just yet, you just, hold it with a deposit through PayPal or Venmo.
Yeah, I've definitely done that before too. Yeah. The only thing that's a downside of that is that if the machine doesn't work right and you already paid them, you're like, oh, crap. But that doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it does. And but another thing too, I work with a guy who fixes up my machines now. We kind of have a working relationship. So I've built connections through this. So in case something like that does happen, he's able to come in and probably fix it up for like $50, $100, and I'll probably make still $100 profit on it.
Nice. And how long did you say you've been doing this hustle?
About 9 months now. I started, last winter. So, and winter times are a really hot time for gym equipment. So I'm busy.
Yeah. So would you say that, if you've been able to do that much revenue in such a short period of time, even with a full-time job, anybody could really get into this and do well and learn it as you go, as long as you enjoy it. I think what happens is people get into it too much for the money. The money's a thrill and it's great, but if you don't really enjoy doing it, this isn't for you, because you're excited about it. I'm excited about when I do furniture and when I find something, but it's because we love the hustle and we love the flip and the thrill of the whole part of it. Maybe not so much. Sometimes I get like, oh my God, I have this giant pile I need to list on eBay. And that's when I'm like, why do I do this to myself? And then I list it all, and all of a sudden, like, my phone's going off because things are selling right away. And I'm like, yes, it was worth it.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. Like, I see like 50 people and I'm like, I don't really want to talk to all these people today. Like, I want to make money. I don't want to drive out there, but it's like, if the money's there, like, and you're definitely into it, then it's worth it in the end after it sells. So
yeah. So what is your goal with the money you're making? Are you saving up to buy a house? Is there vacations in mind?
Well, getting married next year, so saving up for that.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Out the door.
Oh.
And then after that, what I really want to do with the money, I've also, like I said, I've made a ton of connections with this already. And that I would say for anybody who wants to start this, start small, build up, build your knowledge on one particular product, niche, whatever, and then build off of that. I have like 5 or 6 or 7 people that I have invaluable, advice from now. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm talking to a guy, he does the exact same thing I do. And I just found this out because I talked to him on Facebook Marketplace wanting to buy one of his machines. Mm-hmm. And it was like a commercial grade. So I said, oh, how much did it sell for? Because he said it already sold. I was like, okay. So he said it sold for this. He's like, I do this all the time. I buy and sell gym equipment. I'm like, oh man, here we go. So then I actually met with him. He's a school teacher and he has his own gym now, but he had a gym because he was flipping gym equipment, and he has a gym and he flips too. And we were talking, and he was telling me how much money he can make from commercial gym equipment now, that if you buy in bulk, store it, and then sell. He said 1 month he made up to $20,000 in that month. So I was even talking about my buddy with this. I'm like, you got to start small and then just like transition it more and more. So that's what I'm planning to do, like getting to the bigger type of equipment, mm-hmm. and then later on invest in something else. My plan isn't to sell like personal Nordic Track soles, types of machines that for at home use, but getting into like more money machines. But this is definitely a good starting point.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, then you could get into you could just start your own brick and mortar store too and be hustling out of there.
Well, that's what I'm definitely hoping for, but we'll see one step at a time. So
yeah, exactly. Well, sometimes, the freedom of not having I love my retail store, but sometimes it's like, oh, it's like the baby you got to take care of all the time. So you really have to have your heart in it. And sometimes there's a good middle ground where you're just like, oh, this is awesome and I'm having fun, and you don't want to take it too far where it's like, oh, now this is a big stress.
Yeah. I'm so jealous of you. When I ever listen to your podcast, I'm like, oh, I just want to do that, own my own store and do this and not work for the man. But I mean, I just started 9 months ago. And how long have you been doing it for?
Well, I've been flipping since I was 15, so 14 years now. And then my store is 3 years old.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So how did you decide you want to make that jump though?
Well, it's my ex-partner and I had a sawmilling business, and it was really debt heavy with how much equipment we had to operate. Mm-hmm. And so I had been doing my side hustle to kind of help give myself some extra spending money. And I was like, I really like this more, and I wanted to do my own thing. And I was making so much money on eBay, and I'd gone to a few garage sale stores and I'd seen where they rented out spaces. And I was like, oh, if I could just find a space and then rent out most of the spaces. And as I grow my inventory, I can expand into those spaces and kind of kick those people out. Yeah. And that's kind of how it grew. Like I was able to invest in the commercial building. We remodeled it because I had a sawmilling business, and it just like the community, there was nothing else like it in the community, because I wanted to sell in a spot myself. Like that's kind of what started. Like I was looking for a spot to sell out of, but there was nothing, within 50, 60 miles. You had to go to Portland, and it just, the community loved it. Secondhand is set to double. It's a $20 billion industry. It's set to double to $40 billion in 3 years. People just love secondhand, and they love vintage. They love quality. Stuff isn't made like it used to be made. And in your case, people want quality, but they don't always want to pay the new price because it's so easy with Facebook and Craigslist and all these online resources we have now. It's so easy to sell to them and to reach out and be like, hey, you don't even have to go anywhere. Just check your phone. I got what you need.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's so easy, and it gives us a chance as resellers and, you know, even just normal people to create financial freedom through something we love doing. And you can make it as big as you want, or you can keep it as small as you want. It's just you have to take the steps and do the work. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, I could go get that, but it's too much work.
I have a question for you. Do you think like it's more of a mindset, like it's who you are? Because I can even tell when I talk about it, like my mind's running a million miles an hour. My mouth's probably running faster than that. And it's like, because I'm excited about it and I'm excited about doing it. And like, I apologize if I don't make sense in this whole podcast anyway, but it's
it's great.
Yeah, when my brain thinks about it, I just start rambling.
Yeah.
But do you think it's like the type of like person that's into this, like, or could anybody do this, or is it like, you know, you're born this way pretty much with that mindset?
There's definitely ambitious people out there, but I think to do it on any level, anyone can do it, but to make it big and do it well, it takes practice, and it takes devotion and motivation. I don't like to single anybody out because I've seen, you know, the underdog win big, and I've seen great people that are very talented do nothing, in all the businesses I've had. So it's just, as long as you are the type of person that can dedicate a little bit of your day every day towards those goals, you can make it. And you can make it in resale. You know, if every day you list a little bit, if every day you ship out those items and you're just consistent and you're working towards it, you can do it. If you want to make it bigger, you have to be willing to take some risks, but anyone can find a little comfort zone to do this where, you know, I just want to make an extra $50 a week. Like, easy. That's easy. Getting to $1,000 a month, that's a little bit more of a jump. So you just have to be consistent and be willing to push yourself a little bit more. But, you know, those of us that are really excited about it and are, you know, talking about it and, you know, preaching it, that's a different personality type than some. But I do believe everybody can do resale.
Definitely, yeah.
But no, I would say you are really exceptional in the fact that you found this niche, and it's something not a lot of people want to do. And the fact that you're really excited about it and scaling and going, how can I make this bigger? How can I do it better? How can I serve more of my customers better? And, you know, as a reseller, it's not about the money. It's about finding things that people like and they're willing to pay you for and offering that to them. Because if you aren't good about the quality of products that you're selling, like if you sold gym equipment and you band-aided it together, right? So it'd work for a week or something. As soon as they got on it, a band broke or something, you would get a bad reputation and people would start flagging you on the forums, right? And you'd get this nasty message like, this guy sold me this thing and he said it worked great, and the next day it quit working, right? And it's like, oh, he put bubble gum and stuck it together. Like, you cannot in this day and age be a sleazy salesman anymore. No. Like, the internet will call you out. You have to be honest, and you have to provide good good items to people as a reseller.
Yeah. And what I do too, whenever I drop off to whoever I'm selling to, I always say, you have my information. I don't have any warranties on that right now. But in the next day or two, if something does happen to it, and I make sure they test it out before I leave. If something does happen to it the next day or two, reach out. I'll swap out for another one. I'll get my guy out here to fix it. I don't do money back because I feel like that defeats the purpose, but I will help them out in any way possible, like getting them another one. So
awesome. Well, that's what's setting you apart and why you're doing so well in it. And I think that if you got your Facebook page going and you started actually building a brand around what you're doing, you would be able to start charging a little bit more money because now you look more legitimate and people feel more comfortable. And it would you're already setting yourself apart. I think if you went that extra little step, you would really, I think you'd see some change in the way your customers interact and the prices you could start asking for. Because we'll take the example of furniture, right? So when I sold furniture without my store, I could take a dresser that I paid $10 for, and I could probably get 120 for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I take the same dresser and I sell it in my store, because now I have the shopping experience and I'm offering them more value, like you do with your kind of warranty,
Mm-hmm.
now I can sell it for like 280.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I took it and I blew it up on, this is the next step. Like I could probably get more for things on Etsy, but I'd have to offer delivery and shipping. And I'd have to advertise the heck out of it and reach people like all over the Northwest and even ship maybe to Florida. You'd have to offer so much more service, but then I can maybe get close to 500 for it. But my comfort zone is selling it in the store, so I can get that quick money and move on to the next one. But if I didn't have the store, I think I would turn to Etsy and start selling for more money and putting in a little extra effort, because I don't have to spend the time on the store anymore.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But there's so many places to sell things and so many options. Even for you, if you had just a few pieces and you weren't going as big as you've already gone, where you have a little bit of a warehouse, you could be spending the time trying to freight ship them and getting a little bit extra money because you're providing a little more service. But your comfort zone is that quick flip where you're at, and you're doing so well there that doesn't make sense to go and do it a little differently. You're doing great.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's a lot, like driving everywhere. That's another thing, like driving to the different places. Like last night I was out after work, probably for like 5-6 hours going, I don't know, I'm going to Ohio tomorrow. Like I say, Ohio's a big place. I don't know. But yeah, that's probably the biggest like setback, is like, oh man, this is exhausting. But then when you make that money and it's like you see what you have, you're like, okay, it's worth it now. So, yeah. But I think, like you said, marketing, like in those ways that you suggest, are going to be huge. And that's how marketing is like the next big step. How do I get the word out there and what I have, and like build more like clientele to come in and buy whatever I'm selling? So
nice. Yeah, I think once you start pushing your marketing a little more, you'll definitely scale it even bigger, and it's going to do wonders for you. Yeah. Let's see. What else do I have on my list here? We covered so much stuff.
I know. I could talk about this all day, but like there's some people out there I talk about it to, are like, just shut up, please. And I'm like, all right. So there's somebody else who does the same thing. So
okay. Well, you talked a little bit about brands. I don't know anything about gym equipment. I just know that my mom sometimes buys stuff brand new, and then she uses it once and it sits in her room taking up a ton of space forever. And then she's probably the one that you buy it from for really cheap, because she's like, I just need to get rid of this thing. Yep, so let's talk about brands on equipment. You said Bowflex and you said Olympic.
No. I don't think I said Olympic. No.
Okay. I might have heard that. I think there was an Olympic brand like a row machine or something.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't really deal with those too much, but yeah, brands are huge, and it was a huge trial and error, and I'm still like learning 9 months, because it's going to take me forever, like perfect this thing if I continue it or whatever. But I learned that Nordic Tracks, Souls, Live Strong are kind of good, and some Pro Form. Those are 4 of the one, and Epic machines. Those are 5 of the machines that I like to deal with, because I feel like they're good quality products. There's ones out there, anyone from Walmart, do not buy, because they're cheap for a reason, because they'll break on you easy. Like Gold's Gym. Sorry if I'm, destroying anybody's like business here. But Gold's Gym and Westlow are like 2 ones you see that, and people always post them for like $50, and there's a reason for that, because they're crap. Yeah. But then you have people online, they say, hey, do you have one for 150? Well, I'm like, no, you're going to end up with a piece of crap if you buy for that low wherever. So I wouldn't suggest that. So people just want to get them cheap. But going back to how I learned about this, I sold Nordic Tracks for a long time. Then I moved into like Soul. I moved into like these different brands out there. And then you could tell by testing them out and like people's reactions to them, and just like seeing them in person, like what's a good quality brand and what's not. And I've had some on me when I first started. Like I sold, I think, a Pro Form, and it actually fell in my truck. And usually like a good treadmill would take a good hit like that and just keep on running. This thing fell and like shattered. I'm like, okay, I'm never buying that one again. And I even paid $130 for it. I was like, oh. So I was upset that day, but yeah, it all comes with experience. Like whatever you see on Marketplace, that's what it's going for. Like I said, just even find a Google picture. That's huge for me for testing. Like find it, post it, see if people are willing to like buy it for that price. And if they're not, then, you know, then go to the next one. And another good thing I like to do on Facebook Marketplace, I just started this actually last week. I have a thing. I've had enough treadmills now that I have a treadmill clearance kind of, and I post like 7 treadmills up there. And I say, you know, I just say multiple treadmills for sale, and I post it. Oh, and there's another thing. You have to post it for a price, or you have to put a price up there where you're going to draw them in. Because it's seriously, it's really like fishing. You have to like give them the bait, reel them in. And then when you got them reeled in, you got them an interested buyer. And now you could start rambling off different ones that you have. So I always post like whatever machine I have, I always post for anywhere from $270 to $280, because I notice any less than that, you're going to get people who want them really cheap and you're not going to make enough off. And if you post them like for $400, $500, you're going to get the people who are saying, well, I might as well just buy new. So if you post somewhere right in the middle, then you could probably hook them real quick, and then you could charge them more later, because once you get a connection going with them. But it's all about building that trust with like whoever you're selling it to. So that's how I do it. I don't know if anybody else is going to try that way, but it's been working for me. So.
Well, that's smart. So do you get people to contact you and then they come look at everything you have, and then you're like, oh, this is a better... No. Okay. I feel like that would work out great, because they'd be like, hey, look at the stuff I have, and this one's so much, they could feel that it's a better quality.
Yeah, that's my plan. Like in the next like few months is maybe get a place, but my storage unit is jam packed with all these. I mean, they're not like crap, but they're just jam packed.
Yeah.
And I just like shove them in. So when people say, can I come see them? Like I've had a few people say that. I'm like, well, you know, I have a small storage unit, and a lot of the ones I have, like I said, I didn't even buy yet. So that's my plan, is to set them all up real nice, make them look good. I'll tell people to come down, check them out, because I think I've had like 3 or 4 people in the past week that asked me if they could come look at them, but I just don't have the space to like for them to like come and browse. So that's something that's definitely coming down the pipeline for me. I want to do, but no, as of right now, it's just like I show them the picture. I show them a picture of the actual machine before I bring it. I drop it off. I say, if you don't like it, I always tell people, if you don't like it, I'll just take it back. It's, you know, it's going to sell either way. So they're usually comfortable with that. And if anything, you know, is wrong with it, I just take it back, have my guy fix it up, and then sell it later. So.
Well, I guess it's true. Sometimes when you give people too many options, they have trouble making a choice.
Yeah.
So this way, there's one option because you brought it to them.
I don't know. What you're saying, though, is like definitely what I want to do. Like, it'd be so much better to have a store and just say, come in, take a look. I mean, then pick one out and I'll deliver it. And that's another thing. Good.
Yeah, that's and the thing is if you could do the buy, sell, trade, because I can't even think of, is there any places that do consignment or used gym equipment? I can't think of a place near me where you'll get, for me, I don't even have to source as much as I used to, because people come in the door so much with things that they want me to put on consignment, that they want me to buy. Which is awesome. So if, once you have a place where people can come, even if it's not a legitimate brick and mortar, and you could do this through your Facebook page where you're like, hey, I have this spot, come to it, I buy, sell, trade, and they come look at everything. And they're like, oh, I have this older one. And it's not, and then you can start trading things in. And now you're kind of like the used appliances type thing, but there's a lot of value in that. And there's a lot of service in that. And if you really like it, but it's just all a matter how big do you want to get? You could get to that point and then be like, oh, I was having more fun when I was a little smaller. Yeah. So it's just, what's in your heart, and you could go big and be like, I'm going to scale back. You just find where you're comfortable with. But if your dream is to like really get big at this, like having a spot where people can come and they're like, oh, I'll trade this one in and I have one to sell. Once you have a page, people will just be like, hey, I want to sell this to you. What will you pay me? Oh, I'll give you $50 for it and I'll come pick it up. Oh, awesome. I'll bring you cash.
No, that's a really good idea. And that's just like only doing this 9 months. Like I really started ramping this up in the past few months. So it's like not even anything huge yet. Like I said, I'm still learning, and these are things that I want to do. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like my dream would be just make this some type of full-time gig like you have, because honestly, I hate working in corporate America. I just came from there. I'm tired. I just want to go to bed, but this is like my day off from flipping too. So like, I'm just going to like chill after this, but I don't know. I feel like you have like the freedom to like be your own boss, make your own hours. Like it's a lot of work. Like I understand what you go through because like it's a lot of moving pieces. And like I don't even deal with taxes or anything yet. So when that all comes up and like I don't know how you do it, but I'm gonna try to get there. But that's definitely like the dream is have that place, take your ideas. Like I'm definitely gonna keep listening to your podcast. I absolutely love them. I mean, I wish they were longer too, but I know you have like, you know, limited time. So, but like I'm at work, I'm listening to it. I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. I can't wait to talk to her about that or, you know, bring that up. But yeah, that's definitely something I'm looking forward to is like maybe having like a little shop and like just, well, exactly what you said. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you just have to decide when the right time is to go for it. And I think that's a question I get a lot. Like you asked me, like, when did you decide to go for it? And when I went for having the store, there was absolutely zero doubt in my mind that it was going to make it. And for the 3 years I've been open, I've only had, and it's due to weather in the winter, maybe 2 or 3 months where I didn't, I was like in the red, they say.
yeah.
So I had to pull out of savings. But um, other than that, it's been very lucrative. And I have a part-time employee now, and the store is only open 36 hours a week. So it's not too bad. I do get tired of running the store and like the day-to-day of having to deal with customers all the time because they're very draining. So for anyone wanting to start a store, like have it be a goal that you're going to need an employee. Because you want to be able to leave, and you will find that you're going to be the one that's like, oh, I want to go out and pick that thing up, and I want to be the one outside of the actual storefront. So you can just find someone that's like, oh, I'll like sell these things for you, and you go out and be the face of the company, like chit chatting with everybody. And that's what I love. I love going to a garage sale and like spending an hour talking to someone.
Yeah.
Or going to the estate sale and talking to the guy running, I have relationships with all estate sale companies here, and I get to talk to them, and just take the time to make relationships. And that's the relationships are the fun part. Like you said, all these connections you make, that's the fun part of this. You're like legitimately building yourself a side hustle that is a business, and the connections are just awesome. There's great people.
Definitely. Yeah. How did you, this might be something valuable for anybody else who wants to like start maybe a small brick and mortar shop, but how did you probably, I know that you said you drove a bus before, right? Or I don't know.
I've done a lot of things.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't think you had any experience before this, right? So how did you gain that experience to like know how to open a store, or what you need to do, or what steps to take? Like, did you read up on this or?
Yeah. That's a really good question. So I had a little bit of sales experience. I did a few multi-level marketing companies, which I don't recommend anyone getting into multi-level marketing. Like I sold Arbonne. I did Cutco in college. So I had some like small business experience type thing, but I then drove a school bus for 2 years. Anyone like that will make you confident. Like it's a crazy job. Like those guys, shout out to school bus drivers, horribly underpaid and horribly undervalued.
What age did you drive a school bus for?
I had a what was that?
What age were they, or was it for like
all ages, kindergarten to high schoolers? Like it wasn't brutal, but it was hard.
I taught for 5 years, and it's like I taught elementary, middle school, and high school. I mean, I know that they're all rough. And honestly, school bus drivers, like you said, they don't get enough credit because, like, what kind of discipline do you have when they start, like there's no detention, suspension? It's like,
there's none. And yeah. I remember, like, this one kid, like, drew profanities on the window in front of kindergartners, and he was a 5th grader. And yeah. I was just like, I don't get paid enough to, like, do anything about this. Like, you just bring him up to the front of the bus, and then he glares at you through the mirror the whole time. Like, I don't know what else to do about it. But as far as like starting the business, no, I didn't have any experience. I basically went to other stores and I talked to them about what they were doing and just kind of watched and observed. And really, resale store, it's really easy. The one thing that I highly recommend to anyone wanting to do, your inventory system needs to be really good. And for you wouldn't have as many things because your pieces are bigger. For me, I have 125,000 items in my store.
Wow.
125,000 items. And a lot of that is on consignment. And so it is my responsibility as a shop owner to know whose item is, what item is whose and how much it's supposed to be priced at, and get it back to them, or, pay them out when it sells. And a lot of the stores are running on an archaic system, and they just do like those sheet of papers, and they're supposed to pull tags, and it gets crazy in a secondhand store. Like, I've had lines like 10 people deep, and you have to be able to, keep the tags organized. So I invested in a software program that does it all for me. So I scan everything, and it will deduct my commission charge and pay into their accounts. And it's made it so much easier. Like, you cannot run a secondhand or consignment store without it. And I even feel like, a lot of the people that do thrift stores, they don't do their inventory systems well enough either. There's like, oh, whatever's in here. But to really be a good business owner, you should know what's in your store and have a way of tracking all that. Because I can even pull reports and know exactly, what categories are selling well, what where I'm sourcing from. So I could pull a report for things I got from estate sales, and I will know I need to spend more time at garage sales, or I need to spend more time at estate sales because my margins are better there. And that's the success, is knowing the numbers. And I'll be honest, I'm really horrible with money and numbers and all that kind of stuff. So it was important for me to have the system where I can then have an advisor be like, oh, this is where you need to focus, or this is what, you need to pay down, and all that kind of stuff, because I'm not great at it. And if I'm not great at numbers and I can run a business, like, I think there's hope for a lot of other people too.
Yeah, definitely.
But I just learned as I went. Like, I had this vision. I'd seen stores like it, and I knew how I wanted to spin my own store. And I had this vision, and I just took the steps as I went along. The remodel in the business or the building was the hardest. Like, if I would have known all the steps I needed to take to get to a finished product, I probably would have never started. But I just went, oh, I need to, paint the walls, and I need to do this. And you just kind of take it one step at a time. But the big vision, you have to be excited enough about it to start. You just have to get started. Like, even on the small scale of like selling on eBay, the first step, go collect all the clutter in your house and just like make a pile and start taking pictures of it, and then list one item. And then it's all going to snowball.
Yep.
So for, anybody, it's just like the vision and then little tiny steps, and it compounds.
And I think a good piece of advice too is to know that things are going to go wrong. Things go wrong for me all the time, and it's easy to give up when that happens. Like, if you have a sale, then, like I said, one time the treadmill broke on me, and I was at $130. And I was like, man, I just spent $130, and now like I'm in the red for that. So, or people, they're going to complain sometimes that a machine does this, but then you have to go pick it up and swap it out. It's like things are going to go wrong all the time. It's just like being upfront with them, being truthful, and having like honesty for that customer. So they keep bringing you back for like, more equipment or like more customers or so. But yeah, that's a huge piece of advice that I learned the hard way a few times, but it happens to everybody. So.
Oh no, it's true. Things are going to go wrong, and it's funny how people are always worried about failure. And it's like, some people could be like, oh, that one broke and you lost $130. That's a failure. It's like, no, it was a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Like, you probably learned how to strap them down better.
Yep.
You learned how to deal with a situation like that, and how to dispose of one when you have to get rid of it now that's broken. And it's just it's a learning lesson. And it kind of adds some excitement and flair into your life too. Like, if everything went right all the time, it would be exciting, but it'd also be a little boring.
Yeah, definitely.
and it's sad how people are really worried about that failure. I remember a couple weeks ago, I spoke at a high school to freshmen, and one kid about being an entrepreneur. And this one kid asked me twice in two different ways. He's like, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? It's like, lots of stuff. You get hit by a truck. I mean, but what's the best thing that can happen? Why not start thinking that way? Like, oh, I could start a successful business. I could quit my job that I really don't like going to and it's draining to me. And I can have a business that then has value. And when I want to walk away from that business, start a new one, I sell it to somebody. And now I have this chunk of change to invest. And, you just have to be willing to take some sacrifices and risks. And a lot of people like to play it safe. And that's where they end up, just kind of treading water forever. And it's those risks that will really drive you forward beyond anything you really expected.
Yeah. And I think that's like with like the times too. Everybody thinks that you just go to college, you get a degree, you go work for a company, then you just make your money that way. But like this is a whole new game here. Like, and like you said, Gary Vee, I love listening to him. Like I started flipping like this, and then I saw him, and I'm like, he's talking about the same stuff I'm
I
talking
know.
about. And
And
then
he's like a billionaire.
I know. And there's a whole group of people out there and like your followers and everything. Like everybody has that mindset, like I could do this and make money this way. And it's just, it opens up a whole new can of worms for what you could do. So,
Yeah, and it's really sad. I made a comment to those high schoolers. It's like, you really don't need to go to college. And I remember the teacher like backpedaled a little bit, but it's a good option. I was like,
yeah.
but I had a good experience in college. I have a 4-year degree, but I wish that the money we spent on that would have been spent on something else.
Oh my God.
Because it was like, I would, 25,000 a year for the school I went to is $100,000. And the value I got out of it, if I had spent $100,000 in, say, like a coaching program or all these other things that you could take from people that have experience doing things you want to do and getting where you want to go, like I would have been way further ahead. But society tells us when you go to college and then you meet the love of your life and then you get married and then you have kids and you do this whole cycle.
Yep.
And this is a whole nother conversation for a whole nother time. But it's really sad when people get into, for me, it was my late 20s, or it could be like 30s or 40s. And you're like, oh, this isn't really what I wanted. I was just doing it because I was told to do it this way. But there's a whole new world with the internet. I mean, we can do whatever we want.
Pretty much, yeah. And seriously, like we're the same age pretty much. So it's like people, like your parents told you or society told you got to go to college, you got to do this to get a job. And I mean, you don't have to get out of high school, go start working, make money. Like,
yeah.
Again, bringing back Gary Vee. He said that he stayed at home from 20 to 30 years old, just worked $50,000 job, saved up that 500,000, invested it. You can make money that way. But the thing is, like, when you're 18, I think and being a teacher, like I just have this mindset. It's impossible to know what you want to be when you grow up, when you're 18, when you're just, playing varsity sports. Now you're just going to decide what you're going to do the rest of your life. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. So I totally agree. You don't have to go to college. I mean, it is for some people. Like if I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably go right into working, entrepreneur, but I didn't have the mindset for that back then. I had no idea what it was. Yeah. But better late than never. But, I think we're on the same page when we think about that aspect of secondary education.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it was fun, but the amount of money it costs now and then the debt that people are in and they have to dig themselves out. I mean, even when I got out of college, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I went and worked retail at a company called Resale, selling very expensive cast iron cookware that I couldn't even afford except for my employee discount. And you know what I did with so they gave us this awesome employee discount. So every month we could buy a certain dollar amount worth.
Did you flip it?
I did. Yeah, when I quit that job, I couldn't sell it until after I got out of it. Yeah. But then I flipped it. Yeah, I sold it on eBay and I made good money on it because I got it at this crazy employee discount.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, it was like a couple $1,000s. And I only worked for 7-8 months.
Wow. That's
They let us buy a lot of stuff. They don't give that discount anymore because I think they saw people like me selling it on
eBay. Yeah. So you knew you're calling all the way back then probably, but you didn't know it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're about out of time. And I really appreciate you coming on and talking about your hustle. Is there anything, last words, any big tip you want to give everybody?
Just like I said, find that thing and become experienced, knowledgeable on it, and learn everything about it, the ins and outs. And just go for it. Like, don't try to take on the world. Take this one little thing. Like, I had no idea what gym equipment, anything was. I didn't even know what NordicTrek was, and that's the best brand out there. I had no idea like 9 months ago. And I feel like this far that I made 15, 20 grand off of it. Like, you could do anything you want, but just take that one small thing, that one product, that one niche, and just go after it and just sell the crap out of it. That's all I got to say about that. So
perfect. Good advice. Okay, Chris. Well, thank you so much.
All right, Kia. Thank you too.
We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right.